So thank you very much for being with us today. I have the pleasure and honor to have Vassilia Orfanou with us. She's a communication and project management expert. She has worked by leading more than 45 change management and communication experts at the European Investment Bank for a few years. She has graduate degrees from, she's a fellow researcher at the Harvard Kennedy School, where she focuses on research on how to combat child trafficking. And she has other degrees from MIT, Sloan Management School, etc. She has accepted to share her insights today with us in a time of crisis, to give us her support, to give you her support, and share her expertise on what it takes to be remembered as a leader, especially in those difficult times. Vassilia, we are very pleased to have you with us today, and thank you.
Anthony, thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for everyone's participation in such a difficult time. It's a pleasure to be here, even if I cannot see you. We started the day with a couple of technical problems. Thank God that we have several phones and iPhones and smartphones and open source phones so that we can get connected today. Let's start with the current status. The current status is that several countries are on a lockdown. You can move, Anthony, to the next slide. So currently, given the crisis, the COVID-19, several countries are in a lockdown. We are all on a social distancing. We are on isolation. We are all in a quarantine. We are experiencing more or less personal and professional loss. Some of us may be depressed, and we may have psychosomatic symptoms. And unfortunately, for some people, we have also experienced death on our loved ones, and death from the people around us. So if we were to show this visually, moving to the next slide, we can show, we've also shown this slide, keep calm and carry on. Right now is the time to freak out and complete panic, right? This is what we're feeling. So our initial thoughts, moving to the next slide, is something like that. Great. Shit has really hit the fan this time around. We just went through a financial crisis in 2008. Oh my God, what is happening? Don't talk to me, let me sleep, turn off the TV, no music, no friends. Doomsday has finally come. If you are more optimistic like my father is, it could be something like, okay, this is a new world order, everything is going to change. Maybe Tom Cruise will play the leading role. How does he even stay so young? Then other people, he's making money no matter what. Some elderly may also say, okay, we are not ready to die just yet. Moving to the next slide, we really need to shift our mindset. We are all in the same boat. Whatever we feel, we kind of need to do the opposite. We need to understand that a challenge is an opportunity. How can you help? How can you reinvent yourself? How can we become more relevant on the current situation? Because this is all what it's about. We actually need to brand and reshape our brand story, both our personal story and our professional story. So we kind of need to act today to be remembered for tomorrow. So now what? Where do we begin? I would say that the best advice I could give you is over a scotch on your couch, and thinking of the wisdom of Winston Churchill, saying that the difference between management and leadership is in fact communication. Now, if this doesn't work for you, then I would say that you could possibly see the Karate Kid with Mr. Miyagi, where he usually used to say, breathe in and out. Remember that it's never okay to lose to fear. It's already okay to lose to an opponent. And he always used to say the principle comes over everything. Then if this is not good for you, then I would say to go ahead with Shaquille O'Neal, saying that whenever there is an issue and whenever there is an opportunity, you need to feel like a team. And he always used to say that these guys don't necessarily need me, but they don't. When I come back, we all need each other to step up our games and what needs to be done. Now, if Shaquille O'Neal is not your kind of guy, then I would say that Sylvester Stallone could be your guy. I mean, as Rocky Balboa, who hasn't seen this movie? Listening to the Rocky soundtrack, possibly hitting on the ground with 100 push-ups, and recall his quote saying, "Life is not about how hard of a hit you can give, it's about how many hits you can take and still get back up." This is actually the principle of successes and failures. It's not about how many times we fail, it's about how many times we actually get back up every single time that we get down.
Vassilia,
so yeah,
1 second to the attendees. If you have any questions,
yes,
if there are any things that that Vassilia say that are intriguing to you, please don't hesitate to drop a question in the Q&A section, or if you would like to ask the question directly, you can simply raise your hand and then we will take your question. Okay, thank you. Please go on, Vassilia. Thank you.
Okay, we can now move to the next slide. Thank you, Anthony, for helping on this. So I would say that everything starts from an inspiration. As I mentioned before, it's all about where we're all standing, and we currently are all in the same boat. So we need to see what other companies are currently doing. So we know that the restaurants are on a lockdown. They can no longer serve. So McDonald's is doing right now is passing recipes via their newsletters. What does Disney do is passing along on humorous spots with our beloved characters with a sense of humor to make us feel better. What does Coca-Cola does? Coca-Cola has set up a billboard in the middle of Times Square reading, "Staying apart is the best way to stay united." Uber Eats, what they've done is waiving delivery fees. Netflix Party, what does it do? It allows people to watch together from different screens. So why are we still sitting on our couches, getting depressed and not doing anything? We really need to get up and ready. Next slide, please. So Nike, what does Nike do? Nike encourages messages of playing inside, along social proofing with athletes working out from home. What does UNICEF do? UNICEF is engaging our empathy to give back to kids and people that are mostly in need. What does Ford do? Ford offers car payment reliefs. What does Duolingo do? Duolingo offers low pricing on learning a new language with a friend. Adobe, what is Adobe doing? It's free for students. So what is currently our priority? What are the stage that we're currently going through? What is the back and forth and moving forward? So our priority is, first of all, to ground ourselves after we drink our scotch. And what we need to ground ourselves in what people are feeling, to identify their functional and emotional needs. We cannot be in business unless we're able to identify with other people's needs. So we first need to be humane. So the 4 stages that we all go through are 4. So the first stage is skepticism and denial. The second step is anxiety, uncertainty, collective exhaustion. The third step is all about frustration, crackdown, stress, and then more or less some type of adjusting. The 4th stage is post-crisis. We rebound, possibly we reassess collectively, and then we celebrate, hopefully with some beers or some champagne. So on stage first, everyone is going through the stage of skepticism and denial. We don't believe, moving to the next slide, we cannot believe what is currently happening. So if everyone is going through the stage of skepticism, we want to deny what's going on. What we actually need to get as a result of that is clarity and direction. We all need clarity and direction. And to tell the truth, the media today is not really helping us to get to that clarity. So our response from, let's say, a powerful position owning a company is what? Leading to support them in establishing clarity, truth, and direction. This is the only way that we can get the consumer's trust, confidence, and support. Always remember, and whatever you see on the media, appearance blinds, whereas words reveal. The words could reveal something to you which is different from a different person or different to me. This is something that Oscar Wilde used to say. Moving to the next slide. The stage 2, we all feel anxiety, we all feel uncertainty, we all feel collective exhaustion by this point. I mean, even judging from what we see and what we hear on a daily basis, I'm sure by the end of the day, we're more exhausted than what we used to be in the beginning. And no matter what kind of job we are doing. So the needs of all of us is that we need to feel security. We need to feel that we can get back on our 2 feet and control the situation. So we need to feel this ourselves, and we need to provide that. So therefore, our response should be what? We need to show and lead with reassurance. We need to feel and make people sense that they can get back to their lost hope. Once we're able to do that, then we can gain their trust, their confidence, and support. Moving to the next slide. The third stage. Sometimes if you're someone like me, possibly you just skip stages 1 and 2 and you go directly to stage 3. I'm completely frustrated. Once everything happens, everything like the crackdown, the only thing that I could feel is that I was extremely stressed and I was completely confined, and I didn't even want that. I got sick because I was confined. Then I started talking to people. So at this time, what we can do is what? We need to be uplifted, and we need to feel that we can get back to our lost joy. So if and how we can get uplifted is that we need to lead with a sense of purpose. We need to give back hope, and we need to make it now. Once we are able to do that, then we can gain our trust, and we can gain their trust, confidence, and support. Stage number 4 is, moving to the next slide, is the post-crisis. It's the time that we are on a rebound. It's the time that we are actually reassess what we've done. So the needs of our needs and that of our people around us and our closer people and the community overall is that we need to have a sense to reevaluate where we were and where we are, and where what we can do on the basis of your help and my help. So our response to this is that we need to lead each other to a certain type of catharsis. Then we have them forever. So Isaac Newton used to say, if I have seen everything and further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants. So remember that in your own way, you are a giant. You're a unique giant, and you also have certain responsibilities. It's not just the expectations as of you, it's also what you can do to create a reassessment from this point on, in the next 2 or 3 months on. So breaking it down to the next slide is, we always need to communicate with the facts. We need to communicate our values. We need to communicate our intent. We need to communicate our expectations. So the first thing that you need to do after drinking your whiskey, after listening to Mr. Miyagi, after seeing Rocky Balboa hitting on 100 push-ups in 1 minute, you really need to show confidence. You need to show your leadership skills. You need to get a plan and execute it today. So the second thing that you need to do is always think in terms of the 6 C's. I know it's about terminology, but this can hold up to your memory. You need to care. You need to cut to the chase. You need to give criteria. You need to check understanding. You need to show commitment. Most of all, you need to communicate transparently and directly. You need to just simply park the excuses. You need to park the bullshits and act straightforward. Right now, in this situation, people do not want to hear that everything is going to be okay. But if you actually say that, say why, say how. So be timely, be humane, be present. This is the most important thing. Whatever you do with your people, with your colleagues, with the people that you work with, the people that you see in the streets, be present. And by being present, we mean use a very calm, confident, compassionate, and empathic voice and tone. This can do wonders to everyone around you. And if we could take a saying from Barack Obama, we could basically say the following. It's important to make sure that we are talking to each other in a way that heals, not in a way that wounds. So next slide, please.
I think it's just...
We are good, yes. So when communicating with the facts, our values, our intent and expectations, it doesn't matter what your values are. I will give you my values. I will give you my leadership way of thinking, and whatever has followed me and whatever I follow till this day, since I began understanding myself. I'm still understanding myself, but okay, let's move on. So I want to be inspired. I want to be inspired, and I want to inspire as well. I want to feel confidence, but I also want to show confidence. I want to bring confidence in someone that is lacking. I want to feel part of the community. I want to feel part of the community, but I want to feel that other people are part of the community. I want to feel that whatever I'm doing, I'm efficient, I'm innovative, I'm resourceful. So whatever you do, whatever your values are, there are three main criteria that you express, you expect, your intent, and your communication. You need values with accuracy. You need to communicate your values with brevity, and you need to communicate your values with clarity. Wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something. So you actually need to decide which kind of men you are, men or women, wise or fool. You don't have to always say something. Sometimes just empathy and humanity and humility are the most important characteristics to be a leader. Next slide. So while we are communicating the facts, the values, our intent and expectations, we need to adopt and we need to change our values as we go. I'm pretty sure that we are not the same as when we were 16-year-olds. We are not the same as when we were 30 years old. We are not the same as when we are 60 and 70 years old. Therefore, we cannot have the same values. As we move on, grow, the values change. And at the same time, while we're adapting these changes, we actually need to voice our expectations to our team, to our customers. They need to hear you out first. But when you do that, we need to kind of watch out. You also need to ask your team to voice their expectations from you, from your team, from your company. It's okay to say that you don't know what the shit you're doing. It's okay to know and say that you don't know what the next day will rise. It's okay to say that I don't know, but you're still expected to be a leader. You're still expected to say, okay, what do you think? How do you feel? Tell me how you are. Ernest Hemingway used to say that when people talk, listen completely. Most people never listen. And it is the truth, because sometimes, even subconsciously, we're just hearing the other person to simply respond. Sometimes we just simply need to shut up and listen. Listen, observe, then talk if it's necessary. Otherwise, just write it. If not, just, give a hand to the person's shoulder and say, I'm going to be here. Whatever you need, I'm going to be here. Next slide, please. So the most important thing from what we've said is that we always need to fall back to my ABCs. You need to fall back to your ABCs, and I don't mean the alphabet. And what do I mean by that? Accuracy, brevity, and clarity. You need to leave speculation aside. You need to inform clearly and to the point. You need to be brief and honest. You need to leave any distractions aside. Time is of essence. You need to be clear. Whatever you do, you need to be clear. You need to be clear. You need to be brave. You need to be accurate. Michael Jordan says that talent wins games, but teamwork and intelligence win championship. Remember, I will also give you an example of my great-grandfather. He used to say to our family that give me 2 reasons why you think that a tree is so strong. A tree is so strong because there are roots. There are many roots. It's not just one root. There are leaves. There are many leaves, and there are many branches. So the tree is able to sustain any odds. So try yourself. If you're able to become a tree right now, just be a tree. Next slide, please. Next slide is about the questions, is about the homework that we all need to do. So I would like to leave you with some questions, and hopefully this will also create some other questions. And then when you go home and you sit down, and by the end of the day, you open your TV, you will be able to filter out what they say for your own good and for the sake of others. So think about this. What is the most important thing to preserve during a crisis, any crisis? What would you be and what you can offer if you cannot serve your original function? Let's just say that the company right now, that any company has to completely change the brand identity, and you cannot even function your original function. The next point, which are the traits or your characteristics that would you like to display in that crisis? What is your number 1 value or characteristic that you would like to display right now? Myself is about resourcefulness. I need to find ways to help people. I need to find ways to help myself. And I need to see how we can all work in a global community and help each other so that we actually reassess ourselves. And we saw, something, despite all odds, I'm still proud of myself. Despite all odds, I saw what kind of content might be useful for your target audiences. Next slide, please. How can you reinvest, transform your business to an open source format? Okay, today we had a problem. We had a problem with a laptop. We had a problem with technological issues. We found a way to bring a message to you. It doesn't matter how this message is going to reach you or how this message is going to reach your people. It could be an email format. It could be a video format. It could be LinkedIn. It could be Twitter. It could be Facebook. Just go out there. It doesn't really matter what you say. Just say something. Just say something with a humane way. And you will see that people will lead and people will follow you because people need clarity. People need security. People need other people to take off the horns from the Taurus and say, I'm here for you and we need to make it happen today. So what pricing options can you play with in your company and still make some profit? Yeah, I know it's not going to be like it used to be, but nothing is going to be like it's going to be. So what are you going to do? Just sit around and do nothing and like going bankrupt? We're not going to do that. We have to work. So think about the HR professionals, right? We've all been in that HR management meeting where they've been asking us, okay, so what do you want to be in 10 years from now? What do you want to be in 5 years from now? And I always thought to myself, why are they asking us what we're going to be in 5 years from now when in this crisis, for instance, we don't know what's going to happen in the next moment, in the next 10 minutes, in the next 20 minutes. But still think about the following. In 10 years from now, what will you make will make you feel like you managed the crisis well? Which were the traits? Which were the characteristics that you established? What were your values? Which were your morals? Which were your guiding principles that will drive your strategy from this point on? This is something that has to be extremely clear to your head. Next slide, please. So right now, due to the crisis, we need to help people reassess and set new goals. We need to connect with them on social media, on email, visually, through different apps. It doesn't matter how you do it, just connect. What is the key relationships do you want to maintain during this crisis? I'm pretty sure that a lot of companies are firing people. Why are you firing your people? Really? Really? Do you think that you're going to get the same people again? Instead of firing, could you possibly do something so that you can share possibly roles and expectations? Could you possibly make them part-time? Could you make them feel in a better way? Do you think that just because we are the owners of companies, that gives us more rights? You're wrong. And we are wrong. You know why? Because we actually need other people to sell to. So we are part of a global community. So we are as powerful as our people are. We are as powerful as our teams are. So what do you want to feel inspired and aspire during this crisis? What would make you feel proud at this time? I know that this is extremely difficult to do this at this time, but there is no other choice. We either hit and run, we either sleep and put the sheets over and die, we either go out for the run, or we either do something, or we simply decide to put, the carpet over our heads and die. I mean, you have to do something. So we have to do something, and we have to start today. Next slide, please. So the keepers, all of my bosses and all of my team leaders and all the companies that I've worked to date, they always said to me, be part of the solution. But it has rarely been the case that any of these people actually told me what was the solution. Nobody has actually told me, Vassilia, the solution is 1, 2, 3. I was bringing the solutions, and I was part of the solution as well. So I would advise that when you say to people, be part of the solution, so bring it up. What is the solution for you? You actually need to show leadership first before others follow you. So we need to create from the heart. We need to create with empathy. We need to create with intuition, with generosity, compassion, and authenticity. Just remember, no one is like you. So no one has the same values like you. Possibly we can find similarities because we're part of the community, but you're authentic. So live to your authentic self and your unique self every day, even if you fail. Even if you fail authentically, at least you were yourself. The next point is to ensure collective happiness. Yes, it is about that. I'm so sorry, but the agendas, the personal agendas, how much money you make, what kind of car you drive, how much money you have in your bank account, it's not going to make you happier. It's because in the end of the day, unless you're sure that your business makes profits and you're able to get to the next point in time and making other collectively happy and secure, so I guess there's no success. Unfortunately, we are in a confinement for some time now, and possibly this is an opportunity to foster remote working. We need to foster an online and teleworking world. This is what it is. And even if this confinement ends up, it's still going to be a case to still ensure and assure an online and teleworking world. Because if things work now with this situation, then you can prove that your company is successful. Next point, remember to engage and connect with people. Treat the well-being of others like it is our own. And that's it. Stay in touch. These are my details. I can answer to any questions that you may have, either here or through my details. Thank you very much.
So, Vassilia, if there is, I have a couple of questions for you. If there is one advice you would like to give to our entrepreneurs, our members that are struggling right now, either with maintaining their teams together, what would that be? If you could add something to a billboard, what would that quote be, that advice?
Be unique, be authentic. I would say that, as I mentioned before, there is no one like you. And there is a reason why you created a company in the first place. Adaptation and flexibility is the beginning and the end. Nobody said that we will begin on a red carpet and we will also end up on a red carpet. Nobody says that when you begin a company that you won't have any challenges. But we also need to think that in every single challenge, no matter what that is, there is an opportunity. And this is not just theory. You just need to make it happen, and you just need to make it work. I'm not going to give you easy advices. I'm not going to tell you that tomorrow is going to be a better day. Tomorrow we're going to have a very sunny day and everything is going to be like this whole thing never happened again. This is not the reality. But what is the reality? The reality is that our lives are full of challenges. This is what life is all about. And within these challenges, we have certain glimpses of happiness. So take a hold of these great moments that you have with your parents, with your friends, with your partners, and secure these moments, even if tomorrow is going to be a different day. Every single day that you do something new. I don't know what is going to be. It could be like taking a run, or possibly drinking your coffee from a different spot of the house, or possibly cleaning the house. Whatever makes you feel more comfortable and confident and gives you clarity and taking control of the situation right now in the shit that we are actually living all, this is going to be the one characteristic and the one value that is going to make you more efficient and effective for the next day. And this is what is going to make your company a success. And guess what? Even if the company fails, this doesn't mean anything. This doesn't mean anything. As I said, and as we've heard many times, it is how many times you fail and you get back up. We have thousands of examples of people better than us, greater than us, more amazing than us, that they had their own companies and they failed and they failed and they failed and they failed and they failed. Yes, they failed. We all fail. And then we need to get back up. There is no other choice. It's either getting back up and doing the drill and do things all over again, or just standing still. And in the end of the time, in 5 years of time, just saying to yourself, I could have been something, but I wasn't able to. It was this crisis, the COVID. I think, I can give you a number of excuses why I couldn't get up this morning. I can give you a number of excuses of why each life is so, our lives is so difficult, and some of us even difficult lives than others. I also need to, if I have one point to leave you with, is compassion, kindness, humility. These are three points right now that are extremely important. Why? Because we are all on the same boat. It's okay to smile authentically. I know that the thing that you want to do is simply walk and simply getting depressed, or simply, get wasted drinking, or simply, I'm not sure what each one of us is going through, or deeply getting depressed and never go out of bed or get out of the house. I've been talking to a lot of people, a lot of women, a lot of men, a lot of companies, and the reality is that you need to do the work for yourself. Nobody is going to do the work for you. I can come with a bunch of theories, but in the end, you need to apply these theories to your company. And if you want to help, well, we're here, and we can help you with that. Anthony can help you with that.
Vassilia, thank you very much. What are you currently working on? I know that you are very active in the space of creating content, digital content, and also writing about how to combat child trafficking. Can you tell us a little bit more about that work, please?
Yes, absolutely. So basically, I'm not sure if you're aware of the current situation. Child trafficking is basically one of the most heinous crimes that we currently have. And unfortunately, there is no regulatory framework, which means that a lot of criminals and a lot of crime syndicates just walk away. They walk away with the crime. Unfortunately, all these crime syndicates currently are working through the internet, and a lot of institutions are trying to apply a number of ways to stop this crime. However, my responsibility as a media disruptor and as a publicity expert is to make sure that this type of crime is well known, and the public perception is shifted towards understanding that we have a wider responsibility as people, as parents, as partners, as humans, most of all, to protect children. If we're not able to bring safety and security to children, then I guess we are severely damaged as a global community. So currently, I'm on a wide research on this aspect, which began 6 years ago when I was preparing my thesis on peacekeeping and how we could basically save more lives through media awareness and the restructuring of peacekeeping forces so that they get into a country when the crisis itself begins, instead of possibly restructuring a country after everything has been completely corrupted. And during that time, I saw a lot of data of kids that were trafficked either as sex trade, in child marriages, in strip shows all over the world, in countries that you cannot even imagine. So one of the things that I've decided to do is possibly create a social enterprise whereby all companies can have a section on their corporate social responsibility section, basically, that they can support child trafficking. I know that there is each company has its own corporate social responsibility, but we do have a wider responsibility towards kids. So right now, I've decided to open up an institute on diplomacy and communications to showcase the intersection and the cross-section between communication and diplomacy, and how basically communications can help a number of diplomatic functions, one of which is human rights, fortunately or unfortunately. And with that, I'm opening up a newswire, which is going to be basically showing all the information and all the data around globally on what the situation is all about and how communications can create an awareness about this issue and other issues over time, because this is one of the most serious crisis of our times, along with cybersecurity, which is very much connected, along with automatized weapons and how terrorists are using it, along with how terrorist groups are using social media to shift public perception and kill people in front of cameras. along with a number of journalists, a number of investigative journalists, hoping to report from conflict areas. They're actually getting killed on the spot, and basically trying to create a different awareness and a different media awareness touch from what we've used to see, and possibly show how media can positively affect a number of issues of our time in a positive way instead of negative, and instead of creating such a propaganda, which on my end, what I see that is happening currently with COVID from the very beginning, which everything started, the only thing that I can tell you is this is an effort to control the masses. This is also an effort to create propaganda, and it's also an effort to increase ratings. Anyone that goes onto media, onto TV, onto any type of medium, and is not getting the facts right, and they are underreporting or over-reporting without facts and figures, cannot be called a journalist. And this is the last point that I can tell you. So my advice would be, okay, listen to TV and listen to the radio and listen and do go into really factual newspapers and magazines to understand exactly what COVID is all about, and even listen to scientists. It's extremely important at this time not to listen to journalists, to listen to actual scientists that know about this issue. Listen to nurses and listen to these testimonials that are much more important than anything else. No matter what, this is simply another crisis. You know, possibly it's also a financial crisis, but we cannot think like that. We should not allow ourselves to think like that, because this is the reality. This is what they want us to think. They want us to stay in, and they want to basically reconstruct how the economy is going. It's about, let's say, getting professionals on jobs with much less money, with much less benefits. This is all about it, because the economy had hit a curb, and therefore they had to boost the economy once again. Don't ask me to tell you whether, you know, this situation is real, or whether this situation is something that was made up for other reasons. This is not something that I will tell you, but I'm pretty sure that you already have your own thinking and opinions about that. For sure, for sure, this reality has brought a lot of us to lose a lot. So for that reason, we need to come back up and win this game.
Vassilia, thank you for your contributions.
Thank you
for your dedicated work. It's a tough mission you're on with those projects. Thank you for today's speech. It's been a pleasure to host you, and we'll hear from you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day, and I hope I hear from everyone as well. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
A small note for next week. We will have Mr. Frank Schmitz, Head of Fundraising and Communication of Red Cross, sharing his knowledge about how to negotiate strategically in a time of crisis. The webinar is scheduled for Wednesday, and then on Friday we have the Head of Recruitment and Talent Acquisition of Dokla Holding sharing her insights about how to manage global IT talents in disrupted times. We are also inviting you, if you are looking to rest and to center yourself, to our we are inviting you to our Tuesdays meditation session starting at 6 p.m. every week for the next 6 weeks. Thank you very much for listening, for having tuned in.
Thank you.
And this afternoon, we'll have Mr. Pierre Gramegna as well at 6 p.m. talking, and all of you will be invited after that to our virtual FinTech Friday. Have a good time.
Thank you very much.
And thank you very much, Vassilia.
Bye. 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 Take care. Take care, everyone.